Well, okay then. I just had to make sure that I was still able to stream this game. So I Googled it. I said, what did I say? Let's take a look here. I want the specifics. I said, if I am banned in Forza, can I still stream offline gameplay? And the Google AI overview said, and I promise this is going to be a short video. Yes, if you are banned from Forza Online, you can still stream offline gameplay. And I guess I can because it seems to be working. Nothing else in the game works. Um, which and my unfortunately my ban notice is gone too. I forget exactly when it even happened at this point. It was like over a month ago though, and I never talked about it publicly till now because there was a lot of weird shit going on. Um, so anyway, I hope this AI overview is right on Google. Hopefully, it's not the same AI that the Drivatars use because I feel like I might be steered wrong. Big pun intended. Uh, so I'm just going to start from the beginning and give you the quickest rundown possible as to how we got here and the recent stuff that happened. So, and then it's farewell till Forza 6. So let's go back to over a year ago. There was a solid year between the end of 2023 and 2024 where I was, by the metrics, I was the most engaged tuner in the game. And my understanding of the servers and stuff is uh, you know, peerless, let's say. So I started noticing, like a little over a year ago, this player ex Goblin Slayer. And first of all, sorry, turn 10. I'm going to mention a few gamer tags here. Welcome to the chat, by the way. Welcome to the video, turn 10. I know you're watching. Um, I know you guys love me, and I'm not going to lie. I actually enjoyed speaking to you. What I didn't enjoy was what happened next. We'll get to that though. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep this as straight up as possible. I'm not gonna get into too many details. I'm not gonna give away anyone's identities or name anybody. Um, because number one, I should have never gotten on the phone with Microsoft in the first place. I don't know what I was thinking. Um, so I don't know what I was expecting. So I don't trust you guys, and I don't want you to brick my console or anything like that with like $5,000 worth of games in my account. So I'm not gonna go too far. Although I will say this: I have a full recording of our conversation. I have all kinds of communications between us, and I have all kinds of demonstration videos about the manipulation that the player, formerly known as Ex Goblin Slayer, who is still out there, by the way, all kinds of demonstration videos of how the servers can be manipulated to number one, punish people, and number two, give yourself unearned self promotion. And I'm just gonna sit on all that because I don't want to get in any more trouble because I got too good at this game and I know too much. And Turn 10 reached out to me, extracted everything they needed to know, and then fucking whacked me. Turned around and took me out. That's what happened. That's the long and short of it. But back to what I was saying. I noticed this Goblin Slayer, this was over a year ago, started putting up massive engagement numbers for somebody with like 180 followers. All of a sudden, because I know what my engagement is, so I can judge based on the top 10. I can figure out pretty much anything. And this guy was putting up unreal numbers. His tunes were going from out of nowhere to the number one spot in the daily rankings every season. All of a sudden, and not number one. I was usually number one in most cases. Any single car event, I was guaranteed to have the number one tune, Forzathon, shit like that. But this guy was putting up strong numbers for somebody with such a limited following, and was putting up these numbers at a really weird times a day. And he was in Korea, so I figured out because I understand the game better than anybody, or as good as anybody, and the server aspect of it. I figured out that this guy was using alt accounts to boost his own stuff into the daily rankings, where they can absolutely pick up a momentum of their own and get out of control download numbers on a Thursday or a Friday, right? This is all speculated. This has all been theorized and speculated, but nobody ever really thought you could have enough accounts to do that much influence, right? But it turns out it's really not that difficult, especially if you're playing on PC. All you have to do is have Microsoft logins. So you can just flash through. So I'm looking at it from an Xbox perspective where I'm like, the most active logins you can even have on an Xbox is 15 accounts, right? But this guy's playing on PC, so I'm thinking he must have upwards to dozens, right? But I never really never knew for sure. But I discussed this with several players at the time. I said, we have a Goblin Slayer problem. This guy is using alternate accounts to push his stuff to the top of the daily rankings. I'm absolutely sure of it. Whereas I, at the time, had about 600 followers. And this is when followers was broken, too. I got stalled at 600 followers for months and months and months. But I had 600 followers, and this guy was putting up the same numbers as me within the same hours with far less followers, which would have had to have mean that every single one of his followers was active for him to even have a chance at surpassing not only my followers, but the passive engagement you get from the increasing rank of the tune. So I know what I'm looking at. I knew what this guy was doing. I started telling people about it, and then I started telling him about it. And this guy has still never said one word to me. But I started sending him messages saying, look, I know what you're doing, just please stop. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I recognize a guy who's a good player, who's smart about the game. And to give him credit, when he finally did bring it to me in a race setting, even though I smoked him, not without too much difficulty, he put up a decent time. He put up a better time than all these spam tuners would. So I'm like, okay, this guy's a good player. He's okay. He's better than, some of these other guys like Shadow's Bane and stuff. Like, so people are downloading his stuff and they're like, okay, this is fine. This is serviceable. But what they're not realizing is that he didn't earn that spot. He put himself there. So what the momentum is self-building is people see the recommendation and they trust the recommendation, but they don't realize the guy the guy is the one recommending his tune as 25 different people, right? That's the scam. So that's how you get up in those rankings. So then everybody is fooled and they go with the first one they see. This is the spam tuner. This is the base way they operate, right? So I started telling him about it and I'm getting no response. And like, he's really doubling down. And this guy was not picking up a lot of followers even before he got permanently banned, which he also did. And I got banned taking him out. He wasn't even picking up followers at a high rate. He only had 300 something when he got banned. But yet this guy out of nowhere has 1.5 million downloads because he's rigging the system. So I started calling him out and he wouldn't stop. He didn't stop. So he is basically infecting the game with his average mediocre tunes, just for self-aggrandizing, right? He's forcing his way to the front of the line where people are trusting that the system, that the game is saying, this is good, this is worthwhile. But it wasn't the game saying that. It was somebody in the servers, Mr. Goblin Slayer and his dozens of fake accounts in the servers manipulating that, right? So I knew this, and I even sent a report to Forza explaining this. This is over a year ago. And they wrote back and they said, this is not a violation of our code of conduct. That's basically what they said to me. No violation has occurred. So I was like, shit. Okay, I guess I see that. It's game engagement, right? To them, what do they care? I get, like, they might care now because after I explained it to them in person on the phone, in our hour-long phone conversation with several T-10 developers, right before I was banned forever, when I started explaining this method to them, I don't know if they don't really know this stuff, if they're that full of it, or if they do know this stuff. I don't know. But when I explained it to them, they seemed a little more interested in fixing it. A little more. I also told them about Quantum Jack. And I'm like, you got these players out there just with these multiple accounts, and it's this feedback loop where they're promoting their own stuff. And And it's funny because they actually followed up with me about Quantum Jack. Of all the things I mentioned in our phone call, they seemed fixated on Quantum Jack for some reason. And you know what? I didn't give them anything because I just kind of threw that out there off the top of my head in the phone call. I wasn't trying to throw him under the bus, even though I've been highly critical of him. I'm not like reporting him to the developers. And then they came back to me. All the stuff I gave them, they're like, we want to know about this guy who said that in the forums. And I'm like, no, I don't know. And I just ignored it. I didn't even get back to them. I actually have a screenshot of me ignoring the question. I cover my bases with these people, man. And that's the sad thing is I knew I had to cover my bases with these people, right? That's why I recorded the call in the first place. I knew that they might stab me in the back, and I needed all the evidence I could. So I'm going to like sit down and put together some big video about it. And you know what? It's not even worth it. We're just going to go with this, the short version, right? So Goblin Slayer, I'm like, I know what you're up to. And I start hitting his YouTube videos up and saying, I know what you're up to. I know what you're up to. And I'm calling him a cheater and stuff because that's what he is. He's a cheater, right? You're not allowed to call people cheaters in Forza, though. It doesn't even matter if they're actual cheaters. That is against the code of conduct. In a competitive game, it is against the code of conduct to point out that someone is cheating. And it doesn't even have to be in game. It's against the code of conduct for me to point that out on his YouTube channel, right? There's no strict penalty in place for it, but we'll get to it. We'll get to that. We'll get to how the code of conduct is a very amorphous thing. And they can kind of pick and choose what they want to do with it. So I'm telling this guy, I know what you're up to, right? Now, all of a sudden, and if you've been following the channel, you know what happened next. You know what happened next. Because I documented it as it was happening. And by the way, I unprivated all the videos about it. See, this is what's fucked up. After I talked to T-10, I thought, oh, we're friends now. And I like went back and like hid all the videos of me being critical and mean to people and shit. And I'm like, this is a great turn of events, you know? But nah, they turn around and they undid all the goodwill. And I'm like running around the community telling them like, yo, T-10's cool. They're for real. And no, and then they turn around and they just take me out. And they just treat me like absolute garbage. After I stood up and put my Forza fucking career, for lack of a better word, on the line to report these exploits in your game, even though it slightly implicated me, and you just turn around and stab me in the back, right? Because we know what happened next. Goblin Slayer started false reporting people's tunes every week. And he was using his massive amount of alt accounts to false report tunes and have them shadow banned, right? So I did some testing. So he also, by the way, went through my YouTube history and reported me for livery violations. And I got banned for that. During that ban, I did some testing. And I figured out that it only took 10 false reports to get any UGC shadow banned, meaning a tune, a livery, anything. All you need is 10 different accounts to report it for anything in-game, and it will immediately vanish from the public servers, from your creative hub, etc. Right? So this guy figured that out. He knew that. So he took all his accounts, and so now when I tested it back then, it was 10, right? When he started doing it, though, and now they must have fixed it. They must have fixed it at some point. And what I suspect and what I mentioned on the call was, I said, I know what happened, guys. I said, when you switched all your resources over to Forza 6, and you basically put support on a bare bones sort of moderated system, I said you increased the number of reports it takes to shadow ban something because you weren't going to be able to review those reports in as timely a manner. And they agreed to this. They said, yes, you're right. That's what happened. So when Goblin Slayer started shadow banning my tunes, which may have never, he fucked himself over. They may have never amounted to anything, but he started doing it to other players too. And this is all confirmed fact, by the way. This is not me here speculating. This is all confirmed fact. I have all the receipts. and I'm just choosing to not use them right now because it might put me in at further jeopardy of further action, because that's the people I'm dealing with, quite honestly. I thought they were friends, but that's the worst kind of betrayal, when they treat you like a friend and then they could have just treated me like shit from the beginning, you know? Like that would have been actually made more sense to me. That would have made more sense. But he um he did it to Seinu because Seinu put him on his shit tuner list where he belonged. Um and so he started ghosting Seinu as well. And he started doing it to. Then he got it. He must have gotten addicted to it, right? So now he's doing it to people in the rankings, other people in the rankings, every week to gain an advantage. So he's putting himself up there and taking out the competition. So I couldn't share a tune for weeks without it getting shadow banned. But I kept doing it because I was going to trap him, because I knew what I was looking at. So Forza starts a thread like tunes are disappearing, and I'm like, yo, guys, the tunes are not disappearing. It's one guy with fucking 30 accounts, and he's doing it by himself. And it took them a while to come around to this. It took a lot of. Right away when the tune was gone, I started telling this to people, and I know they were skeptical. They were like, "This guy's crazy." I think people didn't even know if it was possible, but I knew exactly what I was looking at. So finally, he did it to too many players and screwed himself over. That's where you went wrong, buddy. When you did it to Seinu, this is like, just because he had that list, man, like that, he probably even regrets it a little bit at this point. But it's like, um, this is like a respected member of the community. Like everybody knows this guy. That's where you went wrong. Like with me, they might not have picked up the phone. Like if it was just me, you know what I mean? You really did yourself in by picking on a really respected member of the community. Because I'm not that. I'm a great player, and I know too much, and it got me in trouble. I've never been a respected member of the community. Like picking on me, you might have gotten away with it. You might have gotten away with it. So he starts doing it. I report it to I report it to Turn 10. I get very specific. I'm giving them share codes of my tunes. In the meantime, while they're investigating it, I'm still looking. How do I know this is Goblin Slayer? How do I know this is not a problem that's only happening now on a weekly basis? So what I did was I renamed an old tune of mine, some shit spam tune from a new car. It was the Cadillac Wagon, the new one. I renamed the tune Ex Goblin Sucker. And the next day it was gone. He saw it. He was stalking my creative hub, and he saw it and he ghosted it. Right? The next day. That's when I knew I had him. But I also knew that that was a violation of the code of conduct. Right? So this now becomes an interesting turning point, because one of the things that I used to be absolutely sure also got me in trouble. And it ended up not being necessary. But it was necessary to me because I wasn't sure I was ever going to hear from Forza. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't in the cards yet. So I was looking for more proof. So then I didn't report that one missing because I didn't care about it. Not because I was trying to avoid any accountability, because it was a garbage tune. It was like a mid S2, you know, it was like a imaginary monster tune. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I gave it a name. I think I just called it Forza. It was a real imaginary monster tune. So I didn't report it, though. I gave them a whole list of other share codes, but I didn't report that one. But I did mention it on our phone call. I said, look, I knew this was happening when I renamed an old tune, and he took that one out, too. I thought they had enough access to this info that they had seen that, or it had been reviewed, you know? Because even if he's doing 25 false reports, in that case, they weren't technically not false reports. There was a bit of profanity in there. So they must have known about it, right? And it was my understanding that they knew about it based on a back and forth message between me and one of the guys in the Forza forums messaging part. But anyway, they banned him and supposedly all of his alt accounts, right? This is what I realized the day before the day that season started. This was like 2 months ago. And then the next day I had the phone call with Turn 10. And they, without confirming it, they confirmed that I was right about everything. You know, this corporate shit, they can't say it out loud. Um, they confirmed all of it, and they said that action had been taken, and he was gone. He was gone for weeks and weeks. So I realized it was a permanent ban for him. The tunes stopped disappearing, right? And then after a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks maybe, um, I log on one day and I'm just banned. And things were just going along real nice, smooth, like no drama, like back to testing cars, you know, like um and I wake up one day and I'm banned, permanently banned, right? Um and like in usual support fashion, I'm getting no explanation, right? They're like, you committed a serious violation. So I send them the ban appeal. I'm like, what is this? Um and they said, "Oh, it's like liveries," and I was like, "What liveries?" I'm like, "How the hell is this possible? I have already been banned twice for the same livery, right?" I'm like, "How is this possible? I haven't shared a livery in forever." Um, so they give me this bogus answer. It's liveries, and I'm like, "What is this?" I go back to the ban info page, and there's a little column that says like the source of the ban or the source of the report, and 99.9 times out of 100, it says player reported. But I looked at this ban, and all of a sudden it says internal, and that's when I knew. I was like, "Oh shit, these guys, uh, they made a decision at turn 10 to ban me. Like this wasn't even based on a report. They like literally got together and decided like get rid of them." And when I asked for an explanation, I got uh, paragraphs with like 15 different things in them. And I'm not going to read any of this stuff. I got like paragraphs. I'm like asking for reasons, and I'm getting paragraphs that are referencing the code of conduct and being mean to people and stuff like this, but never any specific violation. And I realize that this is just, and you know, they're sorry if you think this is unfair, but you've had multiple bans. And first of all, no, I don't recognize the validity of several of my bans. And I told you that. There are several bans now. At least two bans are completely illegitimate. So to use them to stack up against me is not just. You ask me, is it unjust? Yes, it's unjust. The definition of justice isn't a code of conduct. You're probably a fan of federal mandatory minimum sentencing if you're a fan of the code of conduct. No, the code of conduct is the code of conduct. You don't just issue penalties because the code of conduct said so. That's what the appeals process is for. And you didn't even give me an appeals process. So, like the Constitution, if you violate the Constitution, you don't just go to jail. Like there's nuance to it. Like your code of conduct, like you leaning on that is pathetic, especially coming from a company that sells AI to the Israeli army. Turn 10. That's where your Drivatar AI is going, Israeli drones. Turn 10, more like turn 10 fucking buildings in Gaza into a pile of rocks. Turn 10 Palestinian children into orphans. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to do that. So anyway, everything's going fine. I get banned, right? But I have an alt account. Everybody has a fucking alt account, right? And I already told you I did an experiment where I made a bunch of alt accounts and figured out you only needed 10 false reports, but then they must have upped it to 25. So that meant Goblin Slayer had at least 25 accounts that he was using, right? He had 25 Forza accounts that he was using to false report people. So I don't know how many he actually had because it only takes him a minimum of 25. So he had at least 25. So I don't even know. But he got banned, right? Then I got banned, taking him out. And I told everybody, I said, you know what? That's how it goes. I said, I put myself at risk. I knew it. I knew these guys might turn around and shoot me in the back of the head. And they did it. And I have all the proof I need. I feel fine about that. I also have a really awesome alt account, though, or had. And that's the part we're getting to next. I had an alt account called Darius X Flint, and I created it so long ago that I thought it might actually survive this. But the way I was playing in the past month or so, obviously it was giving away who I was. But uh, the account had billions of dollars in that. So I kept hitting $1 billion as Geist Rider. This is years ago. Years ago. I mean, I can't even believe how many years ago this was. I created this in 2022 to deal with my credits problem. So I would just like move all these valuable cars over to that profile. So I basically had billions of dollars worth of credits on there. Um, I didn't have a lot of the reward cards because there was no game progress on it really. And it's funny because I just posted Arrivals time, and if you look at the map on that when I scroll across it, almost every race is new. I just finally got to like the Hall of Fame. I unlocked the DLCs. Um, but this is the real good thing, right? So I knew I had this alt account and it had a couple followers. I was like, I know I can do this. I know I can. So we had one more content drop coming up, right? The big PlayStation like fucking reveal season with the new accolade cars and the new car pack, right? I'm like, we got 8 new cars coming up. I'm like, nobody is better at this than me. Nobody is smarter at this than me, right? I have one chance to take this alt from nothing to like to back to the top. So it's a couple weeks away. Geist Rider is banned. Geist Rider is gone forever. So I'm playing with the alt now. I'm trying to progress enough where I can like access things. Um, I'm trying to gather up the cars I need. I'm sniping cars again for the first time in years because I can't get them any other way. I'm trying to get on points. Like it was fun. I'm gonna be honest, it was fun, but it was all just for this one season, right? The one final content drop. I was like, I'm going straight to the top. I'm going to legendary. Uh, and not only that, but I knew like all this spam monsters. Now Goblin Slayer is gone, but I knew that Shadow's Bane was gonna be on it. He was gonna be on it. Like this guy was gonna rack up a zillion downloads and all these new followers. Because no, who knows any better, right? He was gonna be on it. So I was like, I got to try to minimize that as much as possible. Although I felt like I might not have a great shot because I didn't have enough followers, right? So but as luck would have it, man. So I was ready to go, right? I'm ready to go. I'm like, I make sure my game data is all synced. So like, uh, it's like the night before I wake up around 1 in the morning and, I'm trying to figure out what time is the update? What time does the car pack go live? Like, cause I need to be like sitting here waiting for it to have any shot at putting a dent in the rest of the spam tuners, right? So I'm doing a Google search for the car pack, and I accidentally stumble upon the actual page, the actual live purchase page in the Xbox store. Um, so I went to my console and I couldn't find it on the console, and I went to the actual store and couldn't find it by searching through the store, like on the internet. But I found it. I found it backdoored through Google. So um, because I guess Google is constantly refreshing Microsoft links, right? It's probably sending constant requests. So I'm at the page, right? So I go back on the Xbox and I go in my recently viewed, and there it is. So I pull it up right on the Xbox. It's like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and I just buy it. I'm like, all right, buy it, buy it right now. So this way, when I load the game up later, I don't even got to do that, right? Everyone else is gonna be pulling out their credit card and shit. I boom, load it up. So I bought it at like 1, 2 in the morning. Um, and I meant to send it to a friend of mine, right? So I wish listed just so I wouldn't lose the link. So I wish listed it, and then I forgot about it, right? Because I'm thinking, when is this update going to drop? Right? I had no idea, no idea. I thought that it was going to be one of those deals because usually the way it was is the update would drop on Tuesday and all the new content would be available, but that didn't happen this time. So I was thinking, like everybody else, maybe it happened, maybe we missed it. Maybe it's gonna happen at the season change. Maybe it's gonna happen. Nobody knew really. I didn't know. So, as luck would have it, I'm standing in my kitchen. I'm about to walk out the door and just go for a walk or something. and I get a notification, and I don't even usually have my sound on. I get a notification, and I look, and it's like one of your, and I just enabled notifications for this like a week earlier. One of the games on your wish list is on sale, and I'm like, oh, cool. So I click on it, and it's the car pack, and it's 8:01 a.m. Eastern time, and immediately my brain was like, it's live. So I start walking toward the walking toward my living room where the console is, and I'm clicking on the link, and I'm like, damn, I'm like, I fucking paid 50 cents more than everyone else. And I'm like, no, but this is good. I'm like, nobody, I couldn't find any info on when this was dropping, basically. So I'm like turning on my console at 8:01. And I already own the car pack, right? Fucking Series X, boom. I go straight to the queue for updates. Where like I don't even try to start the game. I'm just like boop 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 boop, updating, and I'm hardwired on fiber optic internet, right? Like I'm ready for this. Like I have an Ethernet, I have a Cat 6 connection on my Xbox. I'm not on Wi-Fi, you know. Like um, fucking update is huge, but like it's done in a couple minutes. I'm in the game. I don't know what time it was. 8:04 or something. It was before 8:10. I'm in the game. I had tried to find info on the accolades the night before, but I couldn't. Boom. I'm in the game. I'm straight to the accolades, straight to Evolving Worlds, straight. Like, you got to know how to play this game. You have to have your hand motions down and everything. Straight to those accolades for the realms. So, boom, boom, boom. I'm the first one done with the first realm. Shared that mammoth tune, the only one public. So boom, that's it. That's a wrap. That's a 5-star tune right there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you post the first tune, that's it's a wrap. That's how that I don't want to say stupid. That's how quick people are to pull the trigger on the first thing they see. That's the whole point of what I was doing. And this is the spam tuner mindset. And this is something that like this is not something like I enjoyed. The only reason I enjoyed doing this in this instance is because it was like, you know what? Fuck all of you, basically. It was like, fuck these spam tuners. I'm not giving them an inch. And number two, thanks a lot, Turn 10. Like, really, thanks a lot. So, guess what? I'm here to dominate your final content drop. That was the only thing I cared about that day. So, boom, the mammoth done. I'm burning through these realms, burning through the realms. So quick mammoth tune, boom, back in the realms, back in the realms. And they made it so stupid. Like literally, I just did one little drift and then walked away for 5 minutes. I'm making coffee. I'm googling stuff. I'm like finding more info that I need to help complete this task. Boom, done with the. I pick up the Lotus, first one with the Lotus. Ended up with a top 5 tune when it was all said and done. Maybe the number 2 one. Um, the what's it called? The then I stopped, right? So I wanted to get the first 2. Then I stopped and I pumped out the car pack tunes, and then I went back to the realms. Anyway, when it was all said and done, because of my decent planning and extremely good luck, I ended up with something like the top tune for 6 of the 8 cars for the first week. Eventually, a couple other people caught up to me because they had massive follower counts, and I was dealing with kind of like a burner account. But I put a humongous dent in number one in the spam tuner's ability to dominate that final content drop, and I was proud of that, boy. But number two, I got 50,000 downloads and like another 20,000 uses and likes in 2 days, and went from basically zero to legendary overnight. I had one tune previously, and it was a really good drift tune, and I'm really mad. I did it during my previous band, so they had about 7,000 downloads, but I put up 52,000 downloads on that profile in like a week, and went to legendary. So then I started sniping Revueltos and flipped 25 of them into $1 billion or whatever. Finally maxed out that profile. So, excuse me. I'm posting. I have clean leaderboards on that profile. I'm having fun. I'm posting like really more interesting times. You know, a lot of the Geist Rider leaderboards are like fucking locked now for years with like really high up, you know, scout times and stuff like that. So like, this is a great profile now. I'm legendary tuner. I got 1 billion credits. I got cars stashed away. Um, I got a bunch of. I picked up like 2 dozen followers from the first week of the PlayStation era. Uh, and obviously, like, too many people knew about this account previously, so there was no way this was going to last. It was kind of a kamikaze mission, um, but then something extremely interesting happened, and this is where things really take a turn. Uh, I wake up the couple weeks ago, whatever the season was. I shared a tune the night before for the Forzathon car. I was sharing like one tune a week as this account, and what the hell tune was it? It was fuck, I forget. Oh, it was the Raptor, the Ford Raptor, right? So I woke up and I went to look at the progress of it, and it had done really well. It had like a couple thousand downloads and uses. It was the top tune of the day. Then I'm playing, and I looked back later, and the stats hadn't changed. And I was like, "Whoa, fucking wait a minute!" So I go to my Creative Hub, and it's not there. So I go back to the garage, but it's showing that it's shared, and it's showing stats. And then I noticed it's accumulating uses. It's just not showing in the searches and on the Creative Hub. And we all know what that means. It means that Mr. Goblin Slayer was back. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. So I said, okay, he ghosted the Raptor. Why? Why? Because he shared one. That was my immediate thought. Because he shared one, right? I'm like, he shared one, and he knows this is me, and he's taking me out. This is all a big game to this guy, right? So I know his alts in the back of my head. I know several of the accounts that he could currently be using, because I stalked the convoy that he would usually drive in. I started watching that convoy after he was banned, and saw new gamer tags. Not only him, but the person who ran the convoy. They both got banned for false reporting my tunes, and both came back with new gamer tags. And I reported this to Turn 10. And they didn't even do anything about it, because when I went to look at the daily rankings, there was one of the Goblin Slayer alts. I'm telling you, this is just a couple weeks ago. This is after he did all of this, and I got on the phone with Turn 10, and they banned the guy forever, and they promised me that this wasn't ever going to happen again to anybody. And here we are, about a month later, and he's doing it again to my alt, right? So I went on there, and I looked at the daily rankings, and there it was, Cat Race 6. Now I'm going to spell that for you. CATRACE number 6. That was the account that he made the day after his Goblin Slayer ban, and I saw him in the convoy with the player formerly known as Prima Dust 9, now known as Gray Shark 5. Do you guys think I don't know this shit? And I told T-10 all about this, and they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. They lied to me, and then they stabbed me in the back. And now Goblin Slayer is out there. I'm telling you, he's just a bunch of new accounts. Even if they got this last batch, because this is what I did. I reported it. I bit the bullet. I took my beautiful, hard-earned alt account, and I reported the incident. And I knew they were going to get me. I just knew it. I sent them the message. I said, Goblin Slayer is back. This is his account that he's sharing tunes as, and he's false reporting tunes again. So obviously they're going to figure out this alt is me. I threw myself on the grenade, because not unlike these other guys, Goblin Slayer, Shadows Bane, I'm not in this for self-interest. I like when we build things together in this game. Right? So They banned my alt. Then I realized they banned all those minuscule alts I made, those temporary alts I made to do the experiment. And I have a video of this too, by the way, which I've shown to people. I tried to keep all this funny business as above board as possible from on my end, because I didn't want people to think I'm another Goblin Slayer. But that's how I got treated in the end, despite all of it. So they banned my main alt account, and they banned all the other minor alt accounts that I made. They didn't have any gameplay on them. It doesn't matter. But they figured it all out. So hopefully they figured it out for him too. But I'm telling you, you're just a couple dozen profiles away from being able to wreak havoc in this game. They have not fixed it. And you guys better fix it. I know you're watching this video. You're obsessed with me. Internal ban. It's like when they whacked Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. As exactly, I wish if I had the time, I would make a video full of all kinds of meme clips like that. That's what you guys deserve. But again, I don't trust you. You'll definitely do something to me. So anyway, the last thing I mentioned was, so I'm done with Forza. I can't do anything now. I might even have a console ban. There's no way to tell, because every profile I have obviously has been banned, but some of them are acting funny. Like they're not exactly banned, and when I try to get their ban history, it won't even come up. It's like I think I might have a console ban. But anyway, I'll be back in Forza 6. You better fucking believe it. And I don't care if you don't like my fucking language. You better believe it. I'll be back. And none of these guys, they don't matter. I'm not stressed about this. I've done real things in this game. The only reason I did any of this seasonal tuning was because there's a very real and legitimate opinion and strong opinion out there among Forza players that seasonal tuners are garbage and they take away a lot of the credit that better tuners deserve. And I completely agree with that. And what I tried to do was provide the better alternative of seasonal tunes. I like playing this game. It was not like a big inconvenience, but like I saw the stuff that Shadowsbane was doing, and I'm like, no, it's not that much for me to do this every week. And of course my shit did better than everyone else's because I'm just better than most of those players. There's obviously a bunch of tuners better than me when it comes to race tuning, particularly asphalt tuning. But, in general, not really. These guys don't know what they're doing. Shadowsbane and all these seasonal tuners, they just literally don't. Like, they literally don't. It has nothing to do with tuning. It's all a status thing. It's all fraud. Just frauding your way to the appearance of respectability. And I'm sorry, Turn 10, if you don't like when I talk about things like this. But, like, goddamn, you guys stab me in the back. You got guys like Seppi in here admitted to, like, cheating in an online tournament, and you let him keep all his tunes. You got this guy, Dung G, literally posting LOL videos, like, look, I got banned again, and you just let him create a new alt and keep going. Like, your priorities are garbage. Like, garbage. So, anyway, I mentioned the community aspect of this game, and there's been no better representation of that to me than the D500 leaderboard on El Descenso. You all know this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And unfortunately, one of the main characters in that story passed away recently. Noobster, 9919. Really young guy named Brandon. One of the best people in this game. One of the most important people in this game. And one of the best drivers in this game. Hands down. And there's something interesting. There's something to be said about guys who were good 3 years ago as opposed to guys who are good now. Is because the guys who were good 3 years ago, we invented a lot of the lines you guys are driving today. And I know somebody would have found them, but that's not the point. The point is that specific people figured a lot of this shit out. And a lot of the guys now are just standing on the shoulders of giants, as they would say. And nowhere is that more apparent than the recent disgraceful world record taking of El Descenso D500 by the LDAC member Ogenesio. In his sweatbox piece of garbage meta scout Sugatu fucking trash. So, first of all, Genesio, that was a bum move, right? That was a bum move no matter how you look at it. And I understand that you did that right before Noobster died, right? I understand that. I'm not sitting here claiming that you did that to a dead kid. But it doesn't matter. You did it anyway, and it was a no class move. No class. For you to look at that leaderboard and all the names on it, forget about me for a second, but you got Seppi's alt on there, and you probably don't even know that account because you're some kind of noob. You went away for a while after you did the same goddamn disgraceful thing to the Forza 4 leaderboards. You came in and you stood on the shoulders of giants who did years of work, and you took out your sweaty Metacar, and you beat them. That's not that impressive because all you got to do is line up your shot. Someone else already took it for you. You understand? So I'm not impressed with you, right? I watched you duke it out with Zipper on Titan in the Scout, and that was awesome. First of all, Zipper is a much better driver than you, and that you're not going to hold that world record forever. That's gone too. Zipper will drive the shit out of you naturally. You're a sweat. But I enjoyed that, and I gave you respect for that. Ask anybody. I'm watching this stuff, man. I'm watching Titan because I had the top auto time on Titan. I'm no slouch, man. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not some sweaty 10-gear fucking 1500 button pushing sweat box like you are. I just like to chill and drive, and I'm still that good, right? So I know what I'm talking about. That was great. I gave you mad respect for that. To anyone who talked to me about it, I'm like, this is great. This is fantastic driving. I love D500 off-road. I'm one of the best. I fucking love it. I live for it. So that was great. Kudos to you for that, man. But you got full of yourself driving down that hill. You got full of yourself. And you thought, oh, I'm going to go take this. Look at this leaderboard full of gladiators. I'm going to take this in the Scout. These guys must not know about the Scout. That's what I imagine you seeing. You look at that leaderboard with all those good goddamn players that make you look like, who the fuck are you, right? And you think we're stupid? You think we don't know about the Scout? Or did you see that Zukiwi time and did that trigger you? Is that what this is about? You trying to be him? He gave up. Maybe he didn't want to be disrespectful. Maybe I had several conversations with him about that you don't know about, that you're not privy to from years ago because you're some kind of Johnny come lately. No, the whole thing was disrespectful. Why would you look at that leaderboard full of gladiators and say, I'm going to shit on this party, right? And Ism did it too. And maybe that's what you saw. You saw Ism came real close and you thought, oh, it can be done, right? And at the time, I honestly didn't mind that Ism did it because I thought he wasn't going to do it and he didn't do it. And I thought that was going to be the final proof. But Genesio, man, why would you even do that? That's so classless. Like, or do it in a gladiator, man. Like, prove that you're good. Prove that you can do it. Prove that you can beat everyone on fucking common footing. You know what I mean? Like, all you did is embarrass yourself. All you did was embarrass yourself. Nobody respects that world record. Nobody. If you respect that world record, hit me up and we're going to debate it. No, in my opinion, you brought shame on what was formerly a fucking respectable club as well. Because I remember when that club was like 2 people and they were the best. But they were also decent dudes. You're just disrespectful. No, for you to look at that leaderboard and do what you did is clown shit, right? And I sent you a message and I told you, I said, that what record is done. I said, don't enjoy it. Do not enjoy that world record. Because it's gone. I'm telling you. I said, and I told him, I said, I don't care if I got to pay someone better than you to grind it for a week. It's done. We will have a gladiator back in that top spot. And you are a sweaty disgrace with no respect. I told him that. And you know what? I would have never had an opinion on this guy. Never. I would have said, oh, that's just one of the best rivals guys. LDAC, Genesio. Real, you know, real on the nose like rivals sweat. From the club to the name, to the cars. Sure, he's great. He's excellent. He's watched all the good ghosts, and he's done what they did. Excellent button pusher. No creativity. No respect. That's what I think of you. And that's what I think is LDAC has become. A bunch of leaderboard bullies with your bullshit meta trash. That's what you become. No creativity, no respect. And I know some of you guys, and I like some of you guys, but there's a lot of crap in your club now. A lot of garbage. I don't think it's impressive to open up a leaderboard and see 10 or 11 of those in a row. Man, do your own thing. Let your name stand out. But I wouldn't even want to be associated with Genesio after that. That is the biggest clown move I've seen in Forza in all these years. That leaderboard, you're going to fucking do that to? What are you thinking? Like I said, I know what you're thinking. You got full of yourself on the first part of Titan. And I hope it was worth it, dude, because you beat Noobster by like, what was it, 0.029? And then like my dude came back and beat you in a gladiator in like fucking 4 or 5 minutes. So with that little bit, you inserted yourself into a conversation that you were not invited to. You inserted yourself into it. You knew the topic, but you inserted your own topic, right? And we had to come back and change the topic, but now you're just here forever. Fuck that leaderboard time. That's embarrassing. If I were you, dog, I wouldn't let that sit there. I would come back in a gladiator and prove yourself. Otherwise, you're just a punk. I don't want to see no scout time at number 1 again. That will be punk shit. I'm saying it right here, right now. If you put another scout time on that board, that is clown punk shit. Come back with a gladiator or don't come at all. Have some respect for us, for other great players. You know what, like Don, you know DJS, like he fucking invented half the lines on that run, and then I made them better, and then other players made them better. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like, look at the names on that leaderboard. You just don't know. You don't know the story. You don't know the players because you don't give a shit. You're like you know how like Shadow's Bane keeps sharing tunes because all he cares about is watching that little download number go up in that little box on a screen. And all you care about is seeing your name at the top of some list. And most of these lists are fucked up garbage. You're like number 18 anyway. So you take one of the only clean leaderboards in the game and you fucking ruin it. Quite honestly, you ruined it. For 5 minutes. And then you got punked. So was it worth it? No. So here's the deal. Like, either leave it alone, take the L, leave that bullshit scout time at number 2, take the L, or come back with a gladiator. And we'll all forget about this. You come back with a gladiator and erase that scout. I don't care if you don't catch the number 1. You erase that scout. You put up the number 2 time with a gladiator for once. You get with the fucking program, buddy. And then maybe we'll forget about this. And I'll go back to thinking, passively respecting you and thinking, this guy's all right, I guess. Good player. But there's more to it than chasing people who did the work and just pushing buttons. There's a lot more to it. See you in Forza 6.